Hi everyone, it's Kate here and welcome back to Marvelous Videos. Today we take a look at the cruel and chaos, Nyarlathotep from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu Mythos. And where Nyarlathotep went, rest vanished, for the small hours were rent with the screams of nightmare. Such is the power of the entity known as Nyarlathotep. Interestingly enough, father of modern horror H.P. Lovecraft first saw the entity that he later named as Nyarlathotep in his nightmares at the age of 10, and cited it as his inspiration behind the now famous entity in Lovecraftian fiction that serves as the main antagonist for the mythos. H.P. Lovecraft developed the mythical character Nyarlathotep. In the Cthulhu Mythos, a shared universe, the figure is a malevolent deity. He first appeared in Lovecraft's prose poem Nyarlathotep in 1920, and he was afterwards mentioned in Lovecraft's and other writers' works. He also featured in the 1936 short story The Haunter of the Dark, and he returned in the 1943 fantasy novella The Dream-Quest of Unknown Kadath as the major antagonist. He has appeared in more H.P. Lovecraft stories than any other deity, and he is clearly the cruelest and vilest being in the entire mythology. He is a shape-shifting agent of chaos, devastation, and madness who serves the other outer gods, particularly his father, Azathoth, the blind idiot god, to whom he is devoted, performing his commands without question as his messenger and emissary. But he occasionally likes manipulating his master. It is said that he frequently visits Earth and delights in driving lower individuals insane and causing them to suffer, specifically targeting humans for his schemes. For his own cruel delight, he spends his time manipulating and fooling mankind, or driving them nuts. He is considered to be the god who will cause Earth's annihilation. While we understand that an entity like Nyarlathotep is unfathomable by humans as a whole, today we will try to explain all we know about this evil being to the best of our ability. Continue watching to know more. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Who is Nyarlathotep? This evil outer god is prominent in Lovecraftian stories, and this is his story. Nyarlathotep initially appears in Lovecraft's eponymous story, where he is characterized as a tall, swarthy figure who looks like an Egyptian pharaoh. In this narrative, he travels the globe, attracting legions of admirers with his displays of unusual and supposedly supernatural instruments, including the story's narrator. These followers lose consciousness of the world around them, and the reader gets a sense of the world's entire collapse through the narrator's increasingly questionable statements. The story concludes with the narrator serving as part of Nyarlathotep's army of servants. The reader gets a sense of the world's impending collapse through the narrator's increasingly untrustworthy accounts. He is characterized physically as a tall, slender man with a dead black complexion, completely devoid of hair and beard, and dressed in a shapeless robe of some heavy black cloth as his only garment. Because of the table and bench, his feet were indistinguishable, but there was a clicking every time he changed positions, so he must have been shot. The man didn't say anything, and his modest, regular features were devoid of expression. It's important to also note that he is the spawn of Azathoth, the blind idiot god himself, and is also an outer god in his own right. The Cthulhu Mythos has a number of cosmically significant entities known as the Outer Gods. They are generally found beyond the bounds of Earth and the solar system, exerting their effect from beyond the solar system. Some Outer Gods, on the other hand, have made Earth their home. They resemble the Gnostic idea of Demiurge, a malignant creator being functioning in an unconscious and warped mimic of the divine will in the real universe. It's also known as Yaldabaoth, a name that doesn't seem out of place in the mythos and may have influenced Yog-Sothoth's name. Nyarlathotep is distinct from and can be separated from the other mythos gods in a variety of respects. Most of the outer gods like Yog-Sothoth and Azathoth are exiled to the stars, and most of the great old ones like Cthulhu are asleep and dreaming. Nyarlathotep, on the other hand, is active and frequently wanders the earth in the guise of a human being, generally a tall, skinny, joyful man. He has 1,000 more forms and manifestations, many of which are said to be terrifying and sanity destroying. The majority of the outer gods have their own cults serving them, but Nyarlathotep appears to serve as he serves various cults and looks after their affairs while the other outer gods are away. The majority of outer gods speak weird alien languages. However, Nyarlathotep speaks human languages and may easily pass for a human if he so desires. Finally, while the majority of them are all-powerful but appear to lack a clear purpose or plan, Nyarlathotep appears to be purposefully dishonest and manipulative, even employing propaganda to attain his objectives. He is arguably the most human-like of the outer gods in this way. Nyarlathotep is the messenger heart and soul of the outer gods, as well as their immemorial figure of the deputy or messenger of hidden and terrifying forces. He is also Azathoth's servant, and he promptly performs his fitful, spastic wants. Unlike the other outer gods, Nyarlathotep considers spreading lunacy to be more vital and delightful than death and destruction. Some speculate that he will distinguish the human species and even the entire planet. Despite the fact that Nyarlathotep appears in only 4 stories and 1 sonnet, which is more than any other Great Old One or outer god, his name is mentioned in several others. This deity's name is especially notable for the Egyptian suffix hotep, which lends an Egyptian flavour. Nyarlathotep is the major enemy of the Cthulhu Mythos since he is H.P. Lovecraft's most used deity, and has appeared in more stories than any other character. Azathoth or even Yog-Sothoth or even Cthulhu is thought to fulfill the role of the main antagonist, but that title goes to Nyarlathotep. Despite working for Azathoth, Nyarlathotep is the true main antagonist, as he is clearly more malevolent and in certain tales has intentions to usurp him. Nyarlathotep is the most malevolent of the outer gods in the mythos, but he may not be as strong as Azathoth or Yog-Sothoth. This could be owing to his ability to comprehend human morality, emotion, and even speech, something Azathoth is never supposed to possess. In addition to being more malevolent, Nyarlathotep is also more human than any other god in the mythos, suggesting that Lovecraft was reflecting on humanity's evil nature. He enjoys driving people insane and finds it more pleasurable than simply killing and destroying them. And he is, as previously established, a more human-like evil than the other outer gods. Nyarlathotep uses deception, manipulation, and even propaganda to achieve his objectives, and mingles with humanity to seal their doom. These characteristics, combined with his ability to freely walk among mortal life, may make Nyarlathotep the most unpleasant and terrifying of all Lovecraftian monsters, as he averts their unknowable and amoral nature. And some have speculated that Nyarlathotep may be the creature who will ultimately destroy the world. Nyarlathotep family tree. As most outer gods, great old ones, and deep ones in Lovecraftian and Cthulhu mythos, most of these unfathomable and inherently evil entities are related. As far as the familial relations of Nyarlathotep goes, he is the offspring of Azathoth, due to being the son of the god who is said to be at the centre of our universe, and in whose dreams all of life is said to reside. Nyarlathotep enjoys powers and importance unlike any other. This is further enhanced because of the fact that he also carries out all of Azathoth's orders, whims, and fancies. Barkatlam, the Darkness, and the Nameless Mist are his siblings, which make them an incredibly powerful family. Though Nyarlathotep frequently interferes with mortal affairs at will, he serves Azathoth as his messenger and as the soul of the outer gods. He is the messenger of the other outer gods and appears to not be solely faithful to any one of them, instead serving them all in some way. However, he is claimed to be especially loyal to Azathoth, whose wishes he will carry out without hesitation. As far as his own family and offsprings go, Nyarlathotep would later mate with Yaoundé and give birth to his sons Uganach and the Abominations of the Ancients, through a rite in which Nyarlathotep raped a woman who subsequently gave birth to his children. As evil goes, Nyarlathotep surely lives up to all of his descriptions. How they compare various forms of Nyarlathotep in the Cthulhu mythos. In this section, we will see how Nyarlathotep compares to the other gods and also how he compares to different forms of himself. Beyond the Ultimate Gate, the outer gods can be found in Azathoth's court. They defy all notions of space and time. They are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. All movement and position are characteristics of a reality that is only an atom in the genuine infinite of the outer gods. Similarly, power is a human concept that, like all other archetypes except the outer gods, has been transcended. Trying to apply a lowly term like power to the outer gods is the equivalent of trying to apply fundamental elements of matter and energy to conceptual existence. The outer gods are composed of formless chaos, transcending qualifiers and forms. They are unaffected by displays of power. Nyarlathotep's might does not allow him to smash all of infinite physical reality in the same way that humans can crush an atom. He is the outer god's strength, which has no physical or even intellectual bounds. Nyarlathotep is best known for his multiple incarnations in terms of power. In the canonical Cthulhu Mythos, he is only seen in the form of avatars and is never truly seen. It's been reported that he governs the earth with 1,000 avatars, and that he has a vast number of them throughout his existence. Uncertain if his actual self possesses larger versions of each of his avatar's talents, but at the very least he possesses the same skills as they do as Nyarlathotep's parts. The Black Pharaoh, who previously appeared on Earth, is one of his avatars. Peasants prostrated themselves before him when he arrived, though they couldn't explain why. His presence resulted in agitation, insomnia, and nightmares. He twisted a metropolis and caused distortions in it, producing madness and displaying images of the inconceivable beyond space and time, as well as the future. He also seemed to have the ability to make individuals vanish. He also appears in Yuggoth's fungi, where he shows visions of the future, in which he reduces the earth to dust and blows it away. This could be the same avatar Nyarlathotep uses in Unknown Kadath's Dream-Quest. Nyarlathotep demonstrated his ability to materialize in both physical and mental realms by appearing in the Dreamlands. The Black Man of the Witch Cult, a fully black-skinned man who resembles the Christian devil and offers magical powers to New England witches, is one of Nyarlathotep's avatars. The Haunter in the Darkness was another Nyarlathotep avatar, a three-eyed being of pure darkness from beyond space and time that could bestow forbidden knowledge in exchange for horrible sacrifices, and had an odd aversion to light. What makes Nyarlathotep an outer god? While not as powerful as his creator Azathoth or the cosmic entity Yog-Sothoth, Nyarlathotep is nevertheless an outer god in his own right, immortal and tremendously powerful while also being extremely difficult to comprehend. Nyarlathotep is said to be able to use cosmic and demonic mystic forces to produce a variety of effects on an undefined scale. He has the ability to materialize as a large number of different avatars. While all are powered by the god's near limitless intelligence, each avatar differs drastically in look, purpose, and power. Some avatars are venerated as separate individuals, with followers ignorant that they are only a small component of a much larger being. He can also shapeshift and take on the appearance of a human man. His sheer presence, like that of Cthulhu, causes lunacy and insanity in mortals like humans, and he can speak with them via telepathy. He can also freely wander across all planes of reality and lives beyond the concept of archetypal infinity. When it comes to flaws, Nyarlathotep's avatars have flaws that are unlikely to be transferred to his main self. Nyarlathotep's main self is confined by the will of his master, Azathoth, whom he despises. He's also sadistic, which could be a flaw, though it's not apparent. However, no real weakness is known because no one is dumb enough to go up against him in the first place. Nyarlathotep has been referenced in countless forms of media. Nyarlathotep has been referenced or emulated in many different forms of media, whether it be books or movies or even video games. His characterization as one of the true avatars of evil makes him a favourite pick when it comes to horror media and references. He is a recurring demon and villain in the Shin Megami Tensei series, most notably as the main antagonist of the first and second Persona games. M, a prominent character in the visual novel Shikoku no Shinoth, who goes by the codename James Moriarty at first, is revealed to be a manifestation of Nyarlathotep near the end of the narrative. Nyarlathotep is also the primary enemy in the story Johannes Cabal, the Fear Institute, and a boss in the game Cthulhu Saves the World. Because of his humanoid look and sadistic goals, Nyarlathotep has been linked to the Slender Man, who shares the same name, Gore Nyarlathotep, as well as being the main antagonist and final boss in the 2017 indie game Sundered. The last boss of the 2018 first-person shooter indie game Dusk is Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep's the last boss in Persona 2 Innocent Sin is also fake Kashihara. The main adversary in Stephen King's novel Needful Things, Leland Gaunt, is suggested to be an avatar of Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep and Sauron from Tolkien's Middle-earth legendarium are supposed to be the same entity in Edward M. Erdlak's Merkabah Rider book series. One of the tree creatures from the Hellboy reboot in 2019 looks a lot like Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep also appears as one of the SCP-43152 entities in the SCP Foundation universe. He resembles various other mythological figures, including Jessa and the Ambassador of Alagarda. Villains that function as agents of disorder, such as Peter Baelish and Joker, could also be considered Nyarlathotep's avatars, as could legendary figures like Loki and Chernobog. Nyaruko, an anthropomorphized Nyarlathotep, is the titular protagonist of the manga Nyaruko Crawling with Love. Nyaruko is kind and has a protective-love relationship with the human Mahiro Yasaka, unlike other depictions of Lovecraftian terror. The Darkest of the Hillside Thickets album, Shadow Out of Tim, features Nyarlathotep as the main antagonist. Nyarlathotep is a monster in the webcomic Lovecraft Girls or How to Prevent the Apocalypse, who is so taken with the beauty of the world that she decides to become the mayor of New England, rather than destroy it. In Dragalia Lost, Nyarlathotep is a dragon who abducts individuals when it detects wickedness in their hearts, such as greed. Two Nyarlathoteps are also present, one of whom is the major opponent of the Accursed Archives event. With that, we come to the end of this video. Which Lovecraftian entity fascinates you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.